Okay, let's look at where these negative emotions came from in the first place. All right, let's look at how we learn to experience our world, how we develop judgments of our world, because it's down to these early experiences that shape the way that we make decisions on what emotion to feel. Now, for example, if we experienced family arguments that always turn out for the worst, then we may come up to the conclusion that anger is bad and must be avoided. So you end up being non-confrontational, having to agree all the time, where deep down, actually you don't. Now, the other experiences could lead you to make sort of statements like this. These are fairly classic, really. If you cry, you get laughed at. Or, I need to be good in order to be loved. And from this, I learned that if I experience X, then the result will be only Y. And I'll begin to build up this database of information, a sort of judgmental filter, if you like. Let's look at this in terms of our early musical experiences. Let's say, for example, a performance experience or maybe a music exam. Whatever it was and however you did isn't the issue. What is the issue are the messages that you got from significant people around you at the time. And when I say significant people, I don't necessarily mean parents or carers. They could be your music teachers. How did they view your success or failure, and what did they communicate back to you? And remember that the communication might not have been verbal. In fact, they might not have said anything. And what would you have been left thinking then? Now, funny enough, this is just what happened to me in my earlier years. Now, my parents gave me no feedback about how I played when performing a solo in a school concert, for example. They didn't say whether it was good or bad, just nothing. So what did I make of that? Well, as they said nothing, I assumed it must have been no good. And what this meant was that whenever anyone came up to me to give me a compliment about me playing, I had to reject it by saying something like, "Oh, well, you should have been standing where I was." And I was thinking that I was being humble, not being big-headed by admitting that I might actually have played well. Now, I didn't realise that by throwing that positive comment back in the face of the person who had just given it to me, I ended up making them feel bad, as if they didn't know a good performance from a bad one. And I just reinforced for myself what a daft player I was. It took years of self-work, to be able to have the good grace to say thank you, I'm so glad you enjoyed it, whenever anyone gave me a compliment. Now, what happens when you do that, when you say thank you actually make them feel really appreciated for the remark, and you end up feeling pretty good about yourself as well. So all this stuff that I suffered when I was younger and plagued me through my college days, where did that come from? Well, it was two comments by my parents. One was, "Don't give him compliments because he'll stop trying then." And the other was, blowing one's own trumpet, as it were, was being big-headed, and it wasn't a done thing. There's a certain Philip Larkin poem that comes to mind. No doubt you probably know it. We have to think very carefully about how we are as teachers in light of what we've learnt through these films. I mean, is it right that the emphasis should be just on the technical approach to playing? Or should we be looking at how we teach the person? And not only that, should we as teachers strive to make sure that any negative emotions that we encountered ourselves in earlier life, or maybe we're still going through, aren't passed on to our pupils? We have to realise what a responsible position we hold in the lives of our pupils. And do we operate a failure-based teaching system, where the emphasis is on picking up what the pupil does wrong all the time, rather than what they do right? And what cumulative effect could this have?
We have to treat ourselves much better than we are doing. Yeah. When we are living so intensely the musician and we forget about the person, as I told you, we are lost. Mm-hmm. We are lost. We have to learn to treat ourselves much better. As I say, I want you to treat yourself better than I treat you.
So there we are. I think we've proved that focal dystonia is an emotional condition which can be cured by changing the way we think and feel about our playing. If you, for want of a better word, talked yourself into developing the condition, then you can talk yourself out of it as well. But it's not easy, And it does take a lot of work to change those attitudes that we've built up for so long. But freedom from those attitudes means that we've got a chance of playing better than we ever have done. Now, these films are focused especially on embouchure dystonia in brass players, and Joachim has cured many other musicians, string players, woodwind players, guitarists, all of their dystonia. And I wonder if this approach might help non-musicians who suffer the condition. If you have, or if you think that you have vocal dystonia, please get in touch. Your experience may be able to help others in the future. And if you're a trombonist with the condition, just remember, don't hide the slide.